What's going on, YouTube? Cardfight King here. So today, guys, I wanted to bring you a quick, not really quick, but just a deck profile for my Minerva Loop for at least the start of the BT11 format. I was able to get it. I was able to finish the deck, and I was able to get in a lot of testing over these last few days. Outside of just the TTS stuff from before, but we got the physical cards in hand, so I could really I feel like I could see the game a lot better. But I kind of want to just go through my list and kind of just talk more. Really, it's more or less talk about like a lot of the key cards that are in the deck, and kind of like what like interactions and how they would work together, and kind of like what you want to try to achieve. I will preface this by saying the deck is not easy to really play. A lot of different builds are going to vary between how you do it, and your approach to a lot of different matchups is going to completely change. Like, you're going to change the way you play against Bloom Lord when you play against Black or Greymon. And I really feel like because of how easy it is to kind of misplay with this deck, or just how it is where you need to really know your matchups with this deck and kind of like what you want to or need to go for, and what your safe plays are and your unsafe plays are. I think that that's just the difficult thing about playing with this deck, is just recognizing that there's a lot of variables that kind of just that really go into it. But with that being said, obviously Minervamon is going to be the egg that we're going to use. It's the it's the best purple egg historically, and the cool thing about purple is that there are just a lot of staples in purple that you're going to run. So a lot of purple decks are going to should kind of look pretty similar based upon what their what a lot of their lineups are going to be as far as what the deck wants to achieve, especially if you kind of know the main goal. Ignitemon. So let me talk about Ignitemon for a second. Ignitemon, to me, is the best rookie in purple next to Gazimon and Psychemon. And the reason why is because Gazi and Psych are floodgates. I value Gazi over Psych just because there are more things that deal with gaining memory outside of outside of tamers. So definitely Gazi has a lot more usage. And Gazi, as you guys know, he's one of my favorite purple Digimon cards. One of my favorite, he's becoming one of my favorite Digimon. I just love Gazimon to death. But Ignitemon, this I think is going to be a staple in all purple decks, and I can see Ignite most purple decks that don't need archetypal support, and I can see Ignitemon, Gabumon, Gazi, maybe Psych in pretty much a very standard purple rookie base, just because of how good this card is. Well, what it does is that, yes, you can run it in Crossheart because it digivolves from a level 2 with Crossheart in its traits. So it is a Crossheart card. But when attacking, you delete one of your Digimon to delete one of your opponent's unsuspended Digimon with a level less than or equal to the Digimon's deleted level. This has applications in multiple decks. It has a very nasty combo in Mastermon, which I'll go over when I do my Mastermon deck profile. But in this deck is one of the cards where you can actually combo this with your Minervamon to get rid of a big threat and still continue to loop or press advantage to win the game. It's extremely good. The other effect is all turns. This is inheritable. When you play a Digimon by an effect, you gain a memory. And with purple, you're always playing Digimon by effect. Whether you drop an Eismon from discarding if you're playing it, whether you use Hell Scythe in Mastermon, whether you use when you use Mervamon for her Digicross ability to bring out extra cards, when you use Minervamon when Minervamon pops, you bring out like your werewolves and things like that. This effect, there's so many ways in purple that you can bring a card out, and when you play the Digimon by an effect, you gain one memory. Honestly, it's such an amazing card, and I just really think that this is just a universally powerful purple card that rookie that you're going to use in a lot of your decks at, I want to say probably minimum 3, but 3 to 4 copies. Is a really good card. Obviously, we run the Gabumon, draw 2, trash 1, simple Gabumon. Then you have obviously your Floodgates, Gazi, Psych. So this is just the 12 Digimon lineup that I'm running for the deck. Onto the level 4. So the level 4s are pretty standard as well. Really, it was just about getting more filter. I kind of still now I'm still working on the list. I'm still constantly trying to improve and things like that. And right now I have 9 level 4s. I kind of want to move. I want to kind of move that number up a bit, just because the 4s are really important in this deck too. And I do also want to have more of an ability to climb up to my Cerberus Mind, my werewolf modes, and things like that. So really, what we have here is a Dark Rizamon. This is just a new kid on the block. He is extremely good in Beelstar, let me tell you, but he's also extremely good at this deck. This is actually another. So like, what we were brought in BT11 are 2 extremely good cards. Ignitemon for the rookie and Dark Rizamon or Dark Lizardmon for the level 4s. With Dark Lizardmon, he has retaliation, so that's already good. He's kind of like he's like a mini scatter mode and a little Devimon as well, where you have the retaliation and on deletion draw 1, trash 1. Very simple. He's a card you just slam into your opponent's security, get a little bit of filter here and there. You can slam it into your opponent's card if it's arrested. Like this card makes a lot of plays in the deck, and again, even if it's a small draw 1 trash 1 filter, he's just an on deletion demi Mervamon on a level 4. It's still a solid card. And then obviously we have our scatter mode. We know what scatter mode does, just to filter. And then I have a singular copy of the Devimon blocker. I actually want to put in a second copy of this card, but I'm going to work around my ratios and see what kind of cuts I want to make, because really what this deck is that I wanted to just fill this deck up with essential cards that I would need in order to get the loop off, in order to make the plays I need to make. And those are the cards you generally see as multiple. Everything else is like really kind of like teched out, because you really don't want too much of something that's not a part of the main combo. So that's why I'm running 1 Devimon, but I really feel like I should put in a second one, go up to 10. This is just a blocker, something to call off of Mervamon, something you can call off of Minervamon, just a solid blocker card. Digivolves for 1 to make it a little easier for certain plays in the game. So that's really it. Then we have the Cerberusmon package, obviously the werewolf, Cerberusmon werewolf. This is just a classic package here. You can argue that you want to kind of cut down on them, but there are times in the game where it's like you have everything for the loop, but you don't have one of these 2 cards. So as long as it's kind of, this is a deck where you really kind of want to see all of your pieces before you really start doing anything. You just want to see at least both of them in the trash, and be able to get up to your Minervamon and whatnot. So there's just a lot of different things going on. I have the 1 copy of Chaos Mode, Lucamon Chaos Mode in the deck. And the Lucamon Chaos Mode is really in the deck just to give me another option to delete a level 6 or delete a Tamer. You can play him off destroying your Minervamon. If you have enough cards in your trash and this card's in your hand, you can play him for a much reduced cost if you need to emergency get rid of something. It's a very okay card in the deck. Playing in this format, like, I really haven't used him much in the deck. He's kind of like there just in case. And without Dead or Alive, I also feel like his application's not as great. Now, is I feel like Lucamon Chaos Mode was a lot better of a card in a Lilithmon version of the deck. And the reason why I think this card was better in the Lilithmon version of the deck was because what Lilithmon brought was the ability to utilize Jack Raid, utilize options, reduce the cost and things like that. And if you did, your loops and whatnot correctly, you gained a bunch of memory and whatnot, you went to that, then you can effectively use your Dead or Alive, grab it back with her ability, play this card out, still keep your turn, pop it. It was just a lot easier to get Chaos Mode out. Obviously, the easiest deck to get it out in is Mastamon, but in the loop deck, this was really kind of easier to get out. In this deck, you really only get it off of the Minervamon, or you hard play it. And I think this is definitely a card I'm probably going to end up cutting for Devimon, but he's in here for now just because I wanted just an interaction so that I have an answer to something like that's level 6 and lower, or a Tamer, just something problematic that I have a hard time getting through. Now, playing for Minervamon. So this is the key card of the deck. This is the card that you want to stack in your hand. You want to get as many copies of her to your hand as possible. And really, you know, her. Now the thing is that also, if your opponent knows the deck and knows what you're playing, they may do an attempt to try and play around her ability, right? Well, during your opponent's turn, when your opponent plays a Digimon, you can respond and play a level 4 or lower purple Digimon card without paying its cost. But the cool thing is that you actually get the effect when you play it. Now, well, you know, you don't get the effect when you play the card with this ability. With the on deletion ability, however, if your opponent has 2 or fewer and she's deleted, you can play a level 5 or lower card or one Mervamon from your check to paying its cost. So back in BT10 and EX3, really you only got to use half of her on deletion ability because we didn't have Mervamon. But Mervamon really changes the game and adds to the aggressiveness of what this deck does. The first ability on the opponent's turn, that's definitely more of a, okay, Digivolve Minervamon and pass. Okay, now she has retaliation, so swinging at her, so the thing dies. If they hard play cards, try to go wide that way, then we are building our own board. So she's kind of a defensive card to Digivolve into and pass turn. That's how I generally like to use her initially to start off the game, especially if you can get a 4 and a 3 in the trash. It's just to use her as like that defensive, hey, look, if you start playing cards, I'm gonna start playing cards too. You know, but she becomes an annoying threat for the opponent. But now that we can use the other half of her on deletion ability, it's really, really good. But she's also the only way we can get out Lucamon, which is why I was saying, Lucamon's not that great. Now, we have Mervamon. This is one of my most favorite cards from the set. I've been excited for this card for a long, long time. So what she does, she's kind of like the older version of her, obviously. So what she does is that when you would play her, you can Digicross cards from the trash for her Digicross requirements. That's very important because then you can put your Ignitemon copies or a copy of herself, because she's also a crossheart. So there are situations like against Black War Greymon where you actually want to Digicross Mervamon with another Mervamon, because with Black War Greymon, they're going to have Gaiomon, they're going to have Metal Greymon, and they're going to de-Digivolve you. So in order to block that de-Digivolve and lose your blocker, your wall of blockers for the turn, you Digicross with herself, and now you have a card where, yeah, you can de-Digivolve me, but I'm still going to have my retaliation blockers on the side and me being a nice 12k blocker. Now, why are they blocker? Because when you Digivolve or on play, and you can play a level 4 lower purple card or one level 4 lower Digimon with Crossheart in its traits, right? So she's actually very strong in the Crossheart deck too. But if you're Digicrossing, you add 1 to the number. So when you play her that, you play 1, Digicrossing, you can play 2 cards, which is why a lot of the times what you do is you Digicross her with Ignite. So it's Digicross basically for 8 because it reduces it by 3. The Ignite, when you play the 2 cards, it will go back by 1. So basically you're playing her for 7, and that's a nail bone, right? Hint, hint, yes, she's in my Buildstar deck as well. But then you bring out 2 cards. So you just bring out your Dark Lizardmons. And now you have 2 retaliation blocker cards on the field, ready to protect you. Plus, she's also a 12k blocker because all of your Digimon with retaliation or Crosshearts in their traits gain rush and blocker. So if you are able to play her while keeping your turn, bam, now you've created 3 extra attacks. You can swing with Minervamon. Minervamon dies, bring out Mervamon, bring out 2 Dark Lizardmons, or Ignitemon, Dark Lizard, double Ignite, whatever it is. They have rush and blocker. So really, really good offensive plays, but you'll tend to use her more for the defensive plays. But this card is just absolutely amazing, and I would not want to have it any other way. This card is just absolutely bonkers good. So we wanted to run 4 of her because we wanted to have that nice synergy in here. And again, when you have multiple copies of her, knowing what matchup you're playing against, like Black White Greymon, she can Digicross with herself, especially if there are situations where you can't find your Ignitemon. Go ahead and Digicross with herself. It's perfectly fine. then for the last one I have is a Nidhogg. Nidhogg was really just a tech card in the deck for me. It's just something I wanted to try out. Where is I don't use him for anything else other than to discard him just to gain a memory. I never did actually digivolve into him. If I do have to do that, then I'm desperately digging for something. But that's really the reason why Nidhogg's in here, just as a discard target to gain the extra memory. This card can honestly be cut for, maybe another Miss Memory Boost, another Death Claw, another Devimon. Same thing with Lucamon Chaosmon. So really, from my play testing, I found that both Lucamon Chaosmon and Nidhogg can be interchangeable between kind of like what you want to do with those slots. This is just kind of what I thought about doing with it. I'm playing one copy of Back for Revenge. Back for Revenge is just another tech card here where you can give it to your Minervamon. When you pop your Minervamon, she'll come back. She'll bring back both of the wolves, and now you'll have her on the field. And if you end up bringing her back, and like, let's say you bring her back, you bring Mervamon back. Well, then with Merva, you put two bodies on the board that have Retaliate, Rush. She has Retaliate, so she came back to the board off the Back for Revenge. Now you've created actually 4 attacks, 4 attacks or 4 blockers, 3 of which have Retaliation. As long as Mervamon does not leave the board, you will have 4 blockers. It's just Back for Revenge actually has become one of my more favorite cards to try and utilize with this deck. Again, that's if you have the memory, if you have the space, if you have the time to utilize that. I'm running 2 copies of Jackray again, and these 2 can become a copy of Jackray too. Jackray is just a decent card just to gain some memory late game. If you hit it in security, it's a Hammer Spark. It's just just a really good technical card that you can utilize for the deck for extra memory plays. Revive from the Darkness is your main combo card. You delete one of your purple Digimon, then you play one, but you can't activate its on play effect. So pretty much you just use this card. You use this to bring back your Cerberusmon, and then Minerva brings back your werewolf mode, activate werewolf mode effect, pop that, gain 9 memory, and you loop from that point on. This is your main loop combo, so you want to see this card in your hand as early as possible. 1 Calling from the Darkness because we want to get cards back to our hand, and it's limited to 1, so that's all we can play. Just a pretty decent staple in pretty much all purple decks. 1 Miss Memory Boost. Again, this can become 2 with Nidhogg and Chaosmon, whatever it is. I just wanted to play 1 and kind of just tech this line out because and actually Death Claw is actually very good in the deck too, because it's another card where you can utilize to pop your card and then go off from there. And I've actually been considering putting in a second copy of Death Claw just to have a little bit more cards that actually destroy your stuff. So like I said, Miss Memory Boost is there to help set the trash, help for an extra memory play, and things like that. But yeah, so that's the deck profile, guys. I really hope you enjoy it. Obviously there's some things that I do kind of want to work on, test, and change throughout the week and leading up to other tournaments and things like that. But so far, this has been the Minervamon Loop deck profile. I hope you guys enjoy it. Hope you guys were able to take some information from it and utilize in your own build. If you're always welcome to share your builds in the comment section below as well. Alright, but this has been Cardfight King, and I'm out. Peace.